Okay, so here I am. It's 7 o'clock, actually 7:01, and I am getting ready for this Mediumship Monday. It's really 7:01 too. It's the daylight saving time has been pretty interesting. So I don't know if you guys all experience this, but what a heavenly morning. I mean, quite honestly, such a morning, like it's so relaxed. You feel like you've slept in so much. So I was with a neighbor outside during the my blissful walk of the dog this morning, and I said that we had concurred that if there was a daylight savings time that happened every 3 months, it would be quite wonderful. Just totally off the calendar. So tonight it's going to be an interesting conversation because it's what happens in life, in my life, is part and parcel to what's happening to everybody that becomes my client, that becomes my client, and we just anyway. So I just want to say, like, so we're dealing with a lot of like old in our body trauma. At least I know I am. And I'm going to say that trauma is something that everybody experiences. Being born is traumatic, as everybody who's ever given birth knows. So being born has its own trauma. That being said, let me back up because I actually need to say this before everybody cuts out, because it normally happens. I'll be at Sal's on the 16th of November. In the other second room. So I'll be there, $35 a person. I'm going to set that up. On the 17th, which is a Friday, starting at 5 o'clock, I'm going to go from 5 to 9. And this is going to be a class on how does Spirit communicate with you? Starting to get to know the language that Spirit uses with you, how you can decipher what they're talking about. And really, it just comes with time and practice. So how does Spirit communicate with you? That's going to be up here in Ann Arbor. And I think it's going to be something between $90 and $100, and it's going to be a really, I think it's going to be a really fun class. So all my classes are. I just have a blast when I do them, and we talk about everything that the people who are present need to talk about. So understand that if you decide to come to this and you're drawn to it, then there's things that Spirit wants you to work on, or work with me, and it could be just that night, never see me again, or and it really, I'm of your service. So, all right, I feel like there's something I'm doing the next day, but I can't remember. Yeah. So I'm doing a holiday bazaar in Grass Lake, and I want to invite everybody to this as well. Touchstone Common House, where I live, is also having a holiday bazaar. That's November 18th. I will have some representatives selling my spray at that place. The last of the I did out the last of the 2 gallons, so that's it for the spray until I decide to do it again, which I don't know when that's going to be. Okay, so yeah, so there's a holiday bazaar where I shall be giving readings in Grass Lake, and there's one in Ann Arbor at Touchstone Touchstone Co-housing, where I'm going to be selling the last of the spray. Okay, so back to really what I want to talk about, and that's trauma. So trauma happens all the time, and it comes to varying degrees. And I know, like, I have a lot of thoughts around it, metaphysical thoughts that are Byron Katie that you can work with to deal with it. But for right now, I want to talk about your physical trauma, physical pain that shows up, whether your hip is hurting or your knee is hurting, your back is hurting. I want you to kind of ask this rhetorical question to yourself: what either emotional or physical pain am I avoiding by having this pain? So normally what happens is you will have this physical pain that's going to come up and manifest, and it's going to, there's Louise Hay, who has her book about things, and some of the things, lower, the shoulder pain, too much weight on your shoulders, too much responsibility. So I want to offer that it's actually a little bit deeper than that. It's not just that you have too much responsibility. It could be that, and you're also trying to distract yourself away from this either emotional pain or physical pain that you don't really want to feel and you don't want to have any part of it. Now, I want to kind of cursor that with a warning. Don't do that unless you really want to find the answer, because what's going to happen is your body's going to start responding and things are going to bubble up to the surface that you really want to, that your body really wants to address, because your body holds on to everything. So again, what physical or emotional pain do I not want to experience? So instead, I'm experiencing this pain in my body. Does that make sense? Okay. Now I'm going to ask you guys to share this video. Share it with everybody. Some of the ways that people actually find out about me is people sharing this. So, sorry, my phone's ringing, so it got my attention. Okay, did that just glitch for a second? I just saw a super glitch right there, but maybe it didn't. All right, so I think that covers what I want to talk about with our trauma right now. I'm going to tell you that I have to make sure that I was watching a kid and make sure that everything was good. Trauma is really experience. If you don't start to deal with your trauma of what actually happened, it can fester and manifest into many different areas of your life. So you could become nonchalant with relationships that actually demand a little bit more respect. You could be, you could blow off people around you. You could do a lot of things that are really, that aren't for your higher good. So understand, I deal with things that are, and I think that we're just going to be going into readings now, because that's what it feels like for me, is I deal with people, I deal with these Mediumship Mondays as if this is a group reading. So what that basically means, again, is with a group reading, there's a couple of things that can happen. One, I could get something that speaks to 5 different people. There's a similarity. It could be a traffic accident. It could be hip issues. It could be back issues. But then 5 people, or heart attacks, or strokes, or things like that. It's going to be people who... I got to take a quick note so I don't forget. Introducing Amazon Print. Can you guys hear that? My computer just started talking to me. Can you hear that? Anybody hear that? What the heck? Hang on, I gotta find this. Oh, so there you go. Sometimes you could hear that, Hannah? Is that not crazy? So Amazon prints? I wasn't even touching it. So understand that this is how spirit works. It works by making its presence known. It's interesting. So as I was writing that, anyway, I was connecting with a spirit, and they're like, keep getting my attention. So, all right, so that's the way it works. So it's a very interesting experience very interesting. Anyway, so I wasn't even doing anything before. So if you are experiencing, I'm going to say, if you're experiencing, oh gosh, they're just showing me things. This feels like a grandmother energy that passed. I see them in a hospital. So one of the things that happened is when we're in the hospital, it has a, I'm feeling like if you're having toys going off around you, this is the grandmother presence that's making themselves known. And I think it might be freaking people out. So it's not meant to freak anybody out. So if this is you, please just know this is a motherly grandmother energy that's coming through. I also feel, So I also feel a young woman that passed suddenly. She's making me feel as if, it's interesting because last week it was a bunch of men, and now I have this, I'm feeling this young woman. She's making me feel like she dealt a lot with depression. Also making me feel, she's making me feel really hyper. So what I see when I see somebody hyper is they're kind of bounce around the room and they're very excited, really excited to be here. So, And I realized as I said that I didn't get out everything I wanted to say. I apologize. I just always, they sort of take over. So, so this is a young woman. Gosh, I don't know. She feels, I feel like this young woman passed well before her time. I feel like she had either had 1 or 2 children. She may have had cancer that overtook her. So I just want to, this person is around you. If you connect with it in a soul level, just know that this is a soul that is reaching out to you. Riley, come on. Sorry, he's getting on the counter. He's bad dog. Okay, so understand that if you're feeling like this is important, that you connect with this, then yes, you do. And it's important just to honor that within you. So this does feel like a friend energy. So it does definitely feel like a friend energy that is that had passed very suddenly, way like before her time. I mean, in her early 30s or mid 30s. I'm feeling like really young here. So as any group reading, there is a potential, because I also feel like a female suicide. I feel that with the depression. So is somebody, one of the issues with, I won't say issues, but what happens is I will give the message and then go and I put it on my Facebook and then I stick it on my YouTube channel. So what ends up happening is the message could be for somebody else. So if you are connecting with somebody like that, please let me know, because I'd like to, there seems to be further, there seems to be a husband that was left behind and having a hard time kind of connecting. 332. Is that Joe? That is you, Joe. Sorry. I'm squinting as I'm doing that. So is the husband having a really hard time right now? Because he's making them, I'm feeling as if he's like having a hard time I don't want to say understanding, but he's just having a hard time really coping with the fact that this happened. And I'm feeling as if he needs support and is afraid to ask for it. An emotional, it could be either emotional or also, because that's my dog, just so you know. It feels that, okay, he also makes me feel that, so she must have been, yeah. So it's interesting because she's making me feel as if she lived a really full life on top of that. And I feel like I was very adventurous and outgoing, and I really like, it was 15 years ago. Oh, okay. Well, it's making me feel as if she lived a really incredible life, but a big amount of sadness was left behind. Really, I don't know if he's battling with depression, because depression is coming up within these fields, and I'm kind of trying to maneuver. So, okay. So I do want to talk about him. I do want to talk, I'm sorry, I want to talk about this female feels like suicide. You know, and I mean, I do sometimes get a little graphic here. I'm not going to go very graphic into this, but I just want to say I do see rope. How about I say it just like that? I see rope with this young female. If you are the mother of that child, get a hold of me. I would love to give you a reading. So, because there's a lot behind that. Okay, that's one thing. The next thing is I do see, so I don't know if, I do see a grandmother passing in a hospital. This is the second time I'm seeing this message right here, which probably means, because this is a digital group reading, that we are talking about people who, multiple people here. Because as I just saw that, I saw two people. I saw a grandmother in a hospital and a grandmother that was at hospice at home. So there's two separate grandmothers who are coming through right now. So I do have a J name connected with this grandmother. I do see her outside. She could be a gardener. This is kind of what she's making me feel like. I feel out in the country in a really big estate, and I do, maybe estate is too strong of a word, but I do see the ability that she, well, even as I like kind of peek into the kitchen, because that's how, so like my energy will sort of peek in. And what I'm seeing is like, I see canning. I see a really self-sufficient woman. That's kind of what okay, I'm just looking. So we have a grandmother that passed in the hospital and a grandmother that passed in hospice that just showed up. So, I mean, validations. So I really love that the validations, and I love it because I think people then can see that this, they get to see it. So, okay. Samantha, I want to talk about your grandmother for a minute. Was this like a homestead? Was this did she really, because I'm feeling really strong, her energy. It's almost like she's a little pushing me. She's pushing me forward to talk to you. So what I'm feeling is that she, oh, it's so funny. I just heard I don't camp. I don't know why it's important to tell you that, so I don't necessarily know if she's as outdoorsy as the other grandmother that I just spoke to, but I'm feeling that she's making me feel like I do not get in a tent. I don't know why. Sometimes it just comes that way, and she's making me feel like she had that she was also. I'm like, so sometimes when I'm sitting here looking blank and like, I don't know what I look like when this happens. I'm asking them questions. So I'm asking questions about people, about them. And it's interesting because as I'm sitting here, they make me feel as if they were not necessarily prim and proper, but that they knew manners at the appropriate places, which is interesting because sometimes, she's not going, and it took her a while she's showing me actually like being shy in a while to warming up to people. Okay, so that's my next thing. Let me see. So I'm still having another J name. Did everybody just hear Riley cry because he can't get on the counter somehow? I don't know. He's just totally let out a big whine. He's our entertainment. Okay, so it's just all of a sudden like this army, and I know I've described it before, but I just all of a sudden the spirit. So what happens is spirit gets closer, I move up. And as I feel that, I'm feeling them coming closer. I feel them coming. I feel like a whole bunch of grandparents coming forward. It's kind of weird because I'm seeing some, grandparents that are relating to my life in top of all of this. So, I do have to talk about a dog. I'm feeling it's making me feel like a howling dog, almost a beagle. I don't know if it necessarily is a beagle, but I do feel the ability that the dog had an ability to howl. There makes me feel like this is a very important dog. It's like a child to someone. I also feel that okay. It's interesting. So I just want to kind of explain to you a little bit of how it happens. So I'm connecting with this dog energy, but at the same time, then like 2 more dogs showed up. So and I have okay. So all right, nobody wants to be left out, and it's I wouldn't be surprised if we start hearing Riley run around like all like crazy dog in a minute, because that's a lot of dog energy and spirit to be in the room, and him to be quiet. So. I do hear a howling with a dog. I do hear that it's I don't know. It makes me still feel like beagle-y. So if you've had this dog pass recently, just know that they're trying to reach out to you, and I just feel this deep depression. This was like a child to you. That's the first thing. The next thing I'm sorry, people are. Um, the next thing I want to talk about the grandfather. I feel like there's a grandfather slash father. I mean, there's a mother and a daughter, and I want to say you have the ring. I feel that ring that is there. But there also feels like there's a lot of tragedy around this passing. So when I'm connecting here, I'm hearing. I hear like this whoosh. So this to me is one of my signs and symbols that is like I left my body really quickly. So I don't necessarily think that he I don't necessarily feel that he was expected to pass when he passed, because I feel like everybody knows that something's happening, but I kind of feel like everything levels out and then poof, I'm gone. So what's a plot hound? I don't know what that is. A dog? Is that like a beagle dog that howls? I mean, a hound howls, right? I don't know. Maybe hound dog howl. All right. Okay, so let me see if there's more of a message. I also feel that, okay, so some of the ways that I also receive messages, I get a physical sensation. So I have somebody who actually had a hard time swallowing, and this could be like a throat or esophageal cancer. That's what it feels like to me. Yeah, it actually even could be tongue, because I feel like my tongue is swelling up within my mouth. So I have a hard time talking. So I just feel like my tongue gets too big. I have a hard time saying it. People aren't understanding what I'm saying. I want to say, what do I want to say? Okay, that's also another sign. So when somebody shows up that had memory issues, had either dementia or Riley, you're one of a kind, man. You are one of a kind. Dementia or Alzheimer's, that's my sign and symbol. So understand that sometimes this is almost like throwing elbows. Everybody's going to take a chance to kind of get my attention and get a little tidbit out and understand that they're really, it never matters the length of the reading. It matters that if you're open to receiving, that you're getting the message that you need, even if it's just this, because on top of it, you're getting some energetic healing through this medium. I mean, okay, I'm a medium, but I mean the medium of Facebook Live. So just understand that is that's one of the things that can happen, and it does, because my guides are pretty high guides, and they're going to be working with you as you're sitting here and getting messages and receiving messages and trying to figure out, is this for me? Is this not for me? If you think at all the question pops into your head, is this for me? It's for you. Okay, so let me see. So the Alzheimer's. It's okay. I don't know if this was like full blown Alzheimer's, because there almost feels like there's this dementia piece to it. But I want to come on, baby. I want to there's a lot of guilt surrounding this woman, so it makes me feel like there was a lot of like headache and and I don't know if it got misdiagnosed or not diagnosed at all, because one of the things I'm feeling with here is that she this is a woman, definitely a woman. She's making me feel like wow. Hang on one second. Because I don't know if she's talking in another language or if it's an accent. And I'm feeling it's a bit of both, because okay, so there's a lot of guilt. So like I said, sometimes when I'm talking off, I'm talking to them or I'm looking off and I'm trying to figure out what they're exactly trying to say to me. So when I'm connecting with this, I feel like this is a woman who was in a was in she was in an adult nursing home, and they're making me feel as if, oh, this hits a lot to my grandmother. They're just making me feel as if I was given a lot of morphine, because I feel a lot of pain. I feel as if I never measured up. I feel as if, it's interesting because what I'm hearing her say is that it's such a paradox. Like, I lived too long, but I didn't live long enough. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense to somebody out there, because what she's trying to kind of get across is that, oh yeah, no, she's totally saying that. Is what she is getting across is that this life is precious. It truly is. We actually fought to get down here and worked really hard to get down here. And I know sometimes it doesn't really feel like that. And it can be an incredibly hard experience. And you really may be going through something incredibly difficult right now. So just know it's a gift. And I know, like, it's interesting because I want to put this out there. Like, everything doesn't really have to happen for a reason. Everything doesn't happen for a reason, because each of us have our own free will on how we choose to be within this world. So I want to offer, given what's happened in the past, this terrible gun violence that's happened, is, number one, we really need to care about the mental health of the people around us. Creating community and being in community and being responsible to each other is number one on our priority list. Number two is we have to do mental health better. Your mental health matters. The people around you, their mental health matters. So I want to kind of, I know it sounds like somebody's coming to the door. I want to end tonight with a little bit of a story that my sister told me years and years ago. And I love it. I loved it. I don't know where she heard it, but I think it's very poignant for where we're at right now. So she would say, she's like, did you know that all of the people in hell are super skinny? And I was like, whoa, that got my attention. Okay. All right. Anyway, that's just a joke. And that everybody in heaven was really plump and like they had rolls and like that. And so the difference was they all sat around this edge of soup so they could feed themselves. They had these really super long spoons. So I'm going to try and shorten it so you can see it. Super long spoons, right? And in hell, they would try and ladle up some soup, and the spoon was so long that it would never reach their mouth and it would fall. Okay? But in heaven, what they did is everybody's sitting around this edge of soup. I mean, if you envision, the other side is some soup with these super long spoons, and what they do is they ladle it up and they feed the person across from them. If you feed the people across from you, whether it be hellos, whether it be how you're doing, whether it be checking in, in a supportive way, we're going to get so much further in this life. And really, this isn't like, the world opening up and somebody coming down from the skies and saving everybody. That's not what's happening. This is it. The sky's opening up within your heart to help change right now. And we're the only ones who can do it. All right. That's a half an hour. I'm so sorry. Got it. That's the longest medium. No, it's not the longest Mediumship Monday. But I really want to thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate you, every single one of you. And I love working with you. And Cindy, I want you to know that I love and adore you. And I think you are an amazing individual. Everybody on here, I love and adore you. And I think all of you are amazing. Look into your trauma. If you're ready for it, look into your trauma. See what's going on with you. Imagine what it would feel like if you didn't have pain. We actually think that trauma and pain are going to kill us, but they're not. Just know that the light of Spirit is with you. Ask that for guidance. Come see me at Sal's on the 16th, which I think is a Thursday, which is not normally a day I would go. Come to my class. Trying to make it something everybody can come to. So I'll do those 2 events hopefully tonight. I keep saying that and I haven't done it yet. So see light, be light. I love you all. Take care. Have a good week and enjoy and smile at a bunch of people. It may help.